I'm Archie Morton Sr., and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my family. We're a sixth generation farm here in LaPrairie Township. Well, when I was a young boy, we milked 10 cows by hand. But at that time, 10 cows was probably an average, 10 or 15 cows was an average herd back in the 40s, early 40s. I built onto the barn in 1969. I went from 24 cows to 60 cows. And in 1976, my barn caught on fire and I lost 60 cows in the barn fire that died. And that put me out of the dairy business right there. So I started hauling cattle just as a hobby. Well, it added up in a few years. We had 5 trucks running, so it ended up more than just a hobby. But with the trucking and the farming, we were pretty busy for a few years.
I'm John C. Morton. I raise corn and soybeans. You know, when you used to work the soil a lot, you'd get a big rain and you'd see soil run down to the creek and be gone. We have gone to no-till farming. We wait until conditions are dry enough and right and go out in last year's residue and plant this year's crop. That's a very big thing with us. We're pretty proud of the conservation that we're doing on the farm and saving the soil and hopefully making it better for the next generation.
My name is Alex Morton. I'm a local farmer in Rock County here. I went to college in Milwaukee for 4 years because I thought at the time I'd like to study business. Well, probably around year 2 or 3, I'd realized that that wasn't actually that important to me. I'd missed the farm. I certainly value my education, and I got a good education, but I think I would have been better served to stay here those 4 years. And if I could do anything over again, it would have been just to embrace farming sooner.
One of my earliest memories on the farm is I can remember riding in the wagon when we were picking corn behind the mounted picker on the tractor. And those were the same wagons we used for baling hay. We would come fall, put some 2-foot sides around the edge of the wagon. Of course, now we use combines and everything is shelled on the farm.
When I was in high school, I didn't take gym. I had to come home and milk cows. So I had my gym class at home.
One of my earliest memories is riding in the cattle truck, especially with my grandpa. And we'd go pick up dairy cattle, especially bull calves. And as I got older, that was my job, is to pick up the calves and load them into the trailer. He certainly could have handled it. I know that now. But at the time, he'd call me his helper and say, "Oh, you're a lot of help." And looking back, I certainly appreciate that.
My dad was a horse dealer, and he never wanted a tractor. So it was 1951 before we had our first tractor. And I think I was probably 16 years old, and I think probably he thought he'd better get a tractor, otherwise I wouldn't be sticking around very long.
I can remember the first time I got to drive tractor by myself was on a International 460. That kind of sparked an interest. I've been farming ever since, more and more, and eventually we started farming on our own after I got married. I told my wife that at some point we'd have to buy our own tractor, and I told her that I kind of wanted my dad's farm all H that my grandpa had bought new in 1951. I was kind of hoping that could be my first tractor. Well, I didn't think anything more of it, and later, or a few weeks later, my wife went over and talked to my dad about it, and he sold her my grandpa's tractor for $15, wrote her up a bill of sale. So it turned out that my grandpa's first tractor was my first tractor.
Frankly, I'd like to farm to continue my family's legacy. It might be a quiet one, but it's one we're awfully proud of.
Well, I liked being out in the open where there's nobody close by and you got more privacy, and I think it's a good place to raise a family.
I think farming has a huge impact on Rock County. If the farmers don't do good, your stores in town slow down on what they sell, and you just kind of hope you do a little better than average and watch your costs and do all you can to get what you can out of the land, but yet make sure the land is still there for the next generation.